You're listening to the Membership Geeks podcast, bringing you proven practical tips and advice from the leading experts on growing a successful membership business.
Well, hello there, membershippers. I'm Mike Morrison, your host and founder of the Membership Geeks and Membership Academy, and it is getting pretty festive around here, right? This episode is going out mid-December 2025 because I feel I need to say that because I know that a lot of you listen to these episodes like years after they come out. So if you're wondering why I'm talking about it being festive and it's the middle of summer, no, this episode is scheduled for release on December 16th, 2025. So yes, it is absolutely feeling festive. So I appreciate you taking the time out during a month where I think everyone starts to slow down a little bit. Everyone starts to check out a bit. I appreciate that you haven't done that you are listening to the podcast that will help you to ensure membership growth for months and years to come. And this is a timely episode. You know, I very distinctly remember back when I was freelancing as a web developer and online marketer, going all the way back, I think it was 2007, 2008, I distinctly remember a conversation that I had with a peer, someone I did bits and pieces of work with from time to time, and we were in the same network of online business people. And he was excitedly bragging that during the Christmas holidays, when we'd all taken a bit of time off, he was there at the dinner table for Christmas dinner, with his laptop balanced on his knee, doing a little bit of coding for a client who wanted their website to launch in the January. And I remember him being so proud of this. Now, of course, his client was thrilled because they got work done during a period where they could never have expected to get work done. And I remember this guy, he really showed off about this. We were both part of this business network, and we'd got these breakfast meetings, and everyone would stand up and kind of give a little elevator pitch. You'd go around the room. Some of you may well have been in a networking meeting like this, and he would show off about what he did for this client over Christmas as part of his elevator pitch. You know, this is how committed I am. When you hire me, you're getting someone who will work on your website even at the Christmas dinner table. It's crazy, right? I hope you're listening to this thinking, what the heck? Because it's a crazy notion. But the thing is, while he had this laptop balanced on one knee, and this is why this conversation stuck with me for the better part of 15 years, while he had his laptop balanced on one knee, do you want to know what was balanced on his other knee? His 1-year-old son. He's not getting that Christmas back. His family aren't getting that Christmas back. I don't know if this became a habit we fell out of touch. I don't know if this is still something that he does, but he's never getting that time back, and all just to squeeze in a little bit of extra work. And I think the problem is hustle culture makes us think that these things are good. These things are the sort of things you show off about. They're the sort of stuff you brag about. These are the things that differentiate you from your competitors. So this is how you're going to win. And so we do these kind of things and we wear that with a badge of honor. And it is absolutely crazy. So just with the time of year, and this pops into my brain every single Christmas. This comes into my mind at least once. I tell at least one person about this. So I wanted to share that with you because you should not be that person. You should not have your laptop open working on your membership on Christmas Day. You sure as heck shouldn't be balancing it on one knee while your kid's on the other knee. And even if you don't have kids, even if you're not doing a big Christmas, even if you don't celebrate Christmas, you still shouldn't be adopting this approach to your membership. If you run a membership, you need to take time off over this festive period. And I don't just mean working from the sofa instead of the office, or, you know, you put the laptop away, but you're glued to your email on your phone in between mouthfuls of, you know, turkey and stuffing. I mean a proper break. I want you to fully switch off, step back and give yourself permission to not be in hustle mode for a little while, to not be a membership owner. And I know that can feel uncomfortable. Memberships can make you feel like you have to be constantly available, constantly present, constantly producing something, constantly showing up in your community. Because there's always someone who might need support. There's always a question that could come in. Someone might post in the Facebook group or the private member forum, and you want to be there to reply. And so you get that little niggling, nagging guilt that you should be there. You should be showing up and serving. I mean, that's a mantra that I encourage every membership owner. Show up and serve, show up and serve. But there has to be lines, there has to be boundaries, there has to be self-care involved. There has to be that remembrance of why you're doing this. You're doing this so you have freedom, flexibility. And so you lose the financial constraints that force you to do stuff like this. But here's the reality, even if it's just that guilt, that sense of obligation, nothing bad happens when you step back. Members are not going to be sitting there on Boxing Day, refreshing your member dashboard thinking, what, there's no workshop today? They're busy doing what you should be doing, spending time with family, travelling, sleeping, eating far too much, watching rubbish TV, building the new Lego set, which is probably how I'm going to be spending my time. There's no better time of year for you to step back and go quiet, because everyone else is doing the same. And honestly, pushing yourself to be constantly available, to be glued to your membership throughout the holidays, doesn't help anyone. If you burn yourself out because you're not able to pull yourself away from your business, you're going to take all of that exhaustion, all of that resentment, because that will build. You're going to take all of that into the new year, and that will absolutely bleed into every aspect of what you do. Your members don't want a version of you that's running on fumes, that's not rested. They want someone who's engaged, energized, and actually enjoys what they're doing. And taking a break is part of making that possible. There's also the strategic side of this. When you're constantly delivering, your brain never gets the space to actually think. When you're running your membership day to day, so often you're busy working in the business, not on the business. So as soon as you step back, you get that distance. You'll find that perspective comes in. You'll find that that's when the bigger ideas tend to show up. Like, there are scientific studies and terms around why people get some of their best ideas in the shower. It's when the brain is distracted by other things is when some of the best actual ideas and creativity comes up. When you take that time out, when you allow yourself to step back, you make space for those big ideas to show up. That's when you start to actually see, okay, what's working, what isn't, where do things need to go. You can't see that when you're buried in the day-to-day, so taking time away from your membership isn't just to rest. It's part of how you grow a sustainable business that's guided by strategy. And one more thing, you're the person who needs to set the tone for your community. If you have a membership where you encourage your members to pace themselves, to look after their well-being, to prioritize balance in their life, but you're secretly running yourself into the ground behind the scenes, that's not really congruent, that's not really aligned. Modeling healthy boundaries is part of good leadership. So how do we make it happen? How do you actually step back without things falling apart, without stressing, without feeling guilty, without feeling like you're abandoning your members? First off, you need to choose dates. Decide, when is your holiday break, Christmas break, festive break? When does that break start? And when does it end? Choose those dates and communicate them clearly to your members, to your team. Don't just put something out there and say, well, we'll probably be a little bit quieter over the holidays, but I'm around. Don't give vague hints, give specific dates. Here's when we're going to be switching off. Here's when things step back. This is when we are fully back at the helm. And here's what that means in the meantime. Communicate this everywhere that members might look. Have a pinned post in your community. Pop a little notice on the dashboard. Send an email out or mention it in your weekly digest. Update your customer service ticketing system, set an out of office email message, anywhere someone might be trying to reach you or someone might be trying to interact with your membership. Make sure that this is communicated. The clearer the expectations, the less stress you're going to feel because everyone's on the same page, everyone knows what's happening. Then you need to set some boundaries around your availability. Decide up front, are you going to be checking your email at all? Chances are, if you have a team or if you don't, regardless, chances are you're still going to be checking in either once a day or, every other day. Decide what that looks like. If you're going to check in, how often is that going to happen? Is it going to be every morning at a certain time? Are you going to allow yourself 30 minutes and then that's it? What kind of things will you allow yourself to deal with during that time? Because, of course, if your website gets hacked, you're not just going to leave that for a couple of weeks because you're on Christmas break. If someone's accidentally being charged $20,000 instead of $20, you're going to want to get on that. So, again, get a clear, defined idea for what counts as urgent, what counts as the kind of things you would deal with. But make peace with the fact that the majority of things can wait till you're back. 90% of stuff can wait till you're back. If there are genuinely situations where something needs immediate attention, create a process for it and restrict it to real emergencies. I remember the first time I went off on holiday while running Membership Academy, I set up an email address, emergency@membershipacademy.com. And on all the communications about the fact that we'd be aware, that response times, customer service times will be affected and all that stuff, we highlighted if there is a serious cannot wait, everything's falling apart emergency, use this email address. Nobody did. But the availability of it, the process for what would happen if that was emailed, so the idea was that would be checked more frequently, all that was in place and that helped me to step back with confidence that things were taken care of. Now, of course, don't try to maintain your regular content schedule within your membership while you're taking a break. Again, maybe it's reschedule some live stuff, take a pause from doing Q&As or office hours, encourage members to rewatch some curated, hand-picked items of existing content rather than expecting a brand new tutorial, a brand new training. Of course, if you've got your content batched, if you've got your content produced, if you don't deliver it live, if you've got that done months in advance, then yeah, in December and in early January, have some content scheduled to release. But again, consider doing that a little earlier than you normally might, because you've got to account for the fact that your members are going to be busy as well. It's extremely unlikely that someone is going to flip their lid and cancel their membership because ordinarily you do your live member Q&A on the 25th of the month and you have the nerve to not be doing that on Christmas night. No one's going to care. No one's going to go crazy. And if they do, you know what? You probably don't want that person as a member anyway. And make sure you use the downtime to reset. I don't mean trying to sneak in work anywhere that you can. I mean, give your brain the space to actually think about your business rather than the day-to-day minutiae. The end of the year is, of course, a natural point for reflection, for reviewing, for goal setting, for looking at what worked, what didn't, what are we going to prioritize next year, what needs to change. Again, you don't need to be sat at your desk for that. Think about it while you're out on a walk. Think about it while you're sat on the sofa with a box of celebrations by your side. Allow yourself to have these thoughts. Don't kind of get in the mindset of, okay, Mike said I've got to take a break, so anything business related, I must shut it out. If this stuff just starts coming to you organically and if it's productive, cool. But park it. Maybe scribble the idea down somewhere, leave yourself a little voice note, and then only delve deeper, revisit it and take it further once the new year kicks in. And speaking of new year, plan to be just as intentional about how you come back as you were about how you went away. So decide the date that normal service resumes. Decide what that looks like. Are you going to kick things off with a bang? I think one of the worst things you can do is just try to ease back in slowly. So you have like a few days where you're kind of half working, you're checking emails, you're replying to messages, You're starting late, you're knocking off early. No, I think that is one of the least productive things that you can do. Have a clear line in the sand. This is the date we're back. Same for your team. Things start up again. This is when calls resume. This is when the first piece of new content in the new year drops. Like, get that locked in. That gives you clarity. It gives your team clarity. It gives your members clarity, because you want to communicate this to them as well. And it helps you to protect the actual break that you're taking, rather than making it a bit vague, making it a bit fuzzy. Because again, if you're kind of thinking, okay, well, I'll shoot to come back and then I'll start easing in, chances are you're either going to ease in a little bit early, or you're going to excuse or justify some sort of half working days during the time you should be taking a full break. So taking these steps, being intentional, planning out what it looks like, communicating it to everyone, and then ensuring that you take this time away, and that if your brain does kind of slip into work mode, it's used to think more high level, to just think, to process, to reflect, to review. It's not spent recording podcasts. It's not spent dealing with customer service emails that could be left. It's not spent creating content. If you can do this, then you'll find that any time going forward that you want to take a break away, it no longer feels like it's a risk. It no longer feels like something you should be guilty about. You start to see it as a normal, healthy part of running your membership, because it is. And you'll come back from that break fresher, motivated, with a clearer idea of how the next year is going to look than you would if you'd spent the holidays balancing your laptop on your knee when you should be having Christmas dinner and enjoying the break. And of course, we've got to eat our own dog food here. We're modeling this for ourselves for the festive break this year. So this episode goes out December 16th. Tomorrow, December 17th, is when our Christmas break here at Membership Geeks and Membership Academy officially starts. So tomorrow, myself and the team are going to get together on Zoom for the final time in 2025 to exchange Christmas wishes and wrap up the year. And then we'll be on break till January 6th. You know, we held our monthly member Q&A and our member roundtable call a little earlier this month than we usually would to account for this break. We released a bunch of brand new awesome content into the Academy over the last couple of weeks, so those in our community who are still working a little later into the month are well equipped to go into 2026 all guns blazing. We've communicated our availability, we've set response times for things like customer service inquiries, which I'll be keeping that light eye on over the coming weeks, as I said, once a day for a limited period of time and only the urgent stuff. And we'll also be taking a short festive break with the podcast too. So after this episode, we're going to be skipping a couple of weeks while you're all far more interested in wrapping gifts and eating all the Christmas treats. And then we'll be coming back on Tuesday, the 6th of January, where I'll be sharing the 5 key things that you need to focus on in 2026 if you want your membership to grow. Now, no matter what, my team always get a good long break over Christmas. I always try and give them around 3 weeks off. Typically, I personally take a little less time off than that, but I've got a solid couple of weeks where, other than keeping a very light touch on customer service emails, I'm going to be totally switching off. And it's so important we do that. It's critical that you take time away from your membership, not just at Christmas, but throughout the year. But this festive season is absolutely when it makes the most sense to, because there's so many more important things happening, not just for your members, but also for you. So enjoy the time, use it as a well-needed reset so you can come into the new year re-energized, refocused, and ready to do incredible things for your membership business in 2026 and beyond. Have an amazing Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever and however you celebrate it well, enjoy it, and I'll see you in the new year. If you enjoyed this week's episode of the Membership Geeks podcast, we invite you to check out membershipacademy.com. Membership Academy is the original membership about memberships, and it's the essential resource for anyone at any stage of starting, growing, and running a successful online membership business. Whether you're still trying to figure out what your idea is going to be and you need some help making it a reality, or whether your website is already up and running and you're looking for ways to grow and attract new members, then Membership Academy can help you to get to the next level.
Not only do you get access to our step-by-step membership roadmap, our extensive training library, and exclusive member-only discounts and tools, you'll also become part of our supportive, active community of membership owners that will help you along the way in your journey with feedback, encouragement, and advice. All of this and more make Membership Academy the #1 place to be for anyone looking to start, manage, and grow a successful membership business. Check it out and join the community at membershipacademy.com.